What is up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about Fate in the real world. And since I have to go over these places, there will be spoilers for Fate Stay Night and Fate Zero. Number 10. Starting off with number 10, we have the FUYUKI Bridge. Looking for iconic moments? Look no further. FUYUKI Bridge is where it goes down. From the conversation between Saber and Shiro to the grand battle between Iskandar and Gilgamesh. Now, in the real world, it's known as the Kobe Ahashi. It's been around since the 20th century and is currently being used to connect the city of Kobe to the artificial Port Island. As you make your way through Port Island, you'll find points of interest such as Kobe Airport. In addition to this, there's walking spaces on the side of the bridge in case you like to go across or do some sightseeing. Number 9. Speaking of sightseeing, if you take a look right below the bridge, you may recognize number 9, which is Port Island Kita Park. And no, you are not mistaken, it is one of the same locations where Saber duked it out with Gilgamesh. You could also find Waver and Iskandar in this location while they made plans for the war. Look, let's be real. We both know that you're tired of digging in your pockets. No money? No problem. If you decide to come down to this park, you can kick back and relax free of charge. As a matter of fact, you can take pictures, do some fishing, or if it's around that time of the year, check out the fireworks. You can get an even better view if you take the trip at night. I feel like Fate Zero can attest to this. There's beautiful shots all over the place, and the lighting only makes it look more convincing. Number 8. For number 8, we have the EMIYA residence. Well, at least part of it. Here you'll find the front gate that was featured as a part of the EMIYA household. In Fate Zero, it's the same location where Maya dropped off Saber in Irisville. In the real world, it's known as the Oda family gatehouse. It can be found on the grounds of Akashi Castle, and it's known to be a property of cultural importance. The castle itself was built as a way to spectate certain feudal lords. You know, just in case something happened to pop off. Interestingly enough, Masashi Miyamoto was present during the castle's creation as a construction supervisor. As of today, 2 towers that were part of this castle are the only thing that remain. And although you can't enter the Oda Gate, you can still check it out or make a stop at Akashi Park nearby. Number 7. 40 minutes away from Shiro's home, we have RYUUDOU Temple. Here you'll find one of the 4 locations that can bring forth the Greater Grail. In the real world, it's inspired by 2 places. The first being the staircase where Saber fought against Fake Assassin. This can be found at a temple known as Engaku. And even though there's been a bit of exaggeration, you can still see the influence nonetheless. Making our way to the second half of RYUUDOU, we have the building itself. In the real world, it is known as Ryuudoji Temple. It just so happens to be one of the most scenic places in all of Japan. But even more than that, it's recognized as the headquarters for the Jai sect. To make things brief, the Jai sect is a branch of Buddhism founded by the same priest that opened the temple. This was Saint Ippen. Sometime during his life, the priest ran into a revelation. A deity told him that he could reach enlightenment if he was willing to praise a specific Buddha. To no surprise, Ippen gave up all his possessions and spent the rest of his life preaching the name of that same Buddha. Number 6. For number 6, we have the TOHSAKA residence. It is the same place where Ren spent her days growing up, with Kirei as her guardian. I know, Kirei as my guardian. Just kill me now, why don't you? Anyway, I'm sure you've heard Shiro talk about the district that has western houses. In the real world, this region is called Kitano. Here you'll find the TOHSAKA mansion, which is actually called Weathercock House. The reason being is due to the actual weathercock that's on top of the house. You heard me right. They named the entire house after a rooster. Somebody please get the strap. Now, as a tourist attraction, we got 300,000 people coming through here on a yearly basis. And while it's not 100% the same, you can still see certain aspects that were taken from this building. In order to get a good look inside, you're gonna have to cough up 500 yen. Initially, it was the residence of the German trader Gottfried Thomas. After Kobe opened up their port to foreign trade, he, like many others, made their way to the surrounding area. The moment he got there, Gottfried decided that he wanted a house that was designed like the ones back in his own country. So he had one constructed. Similar to RYUUDOU Temple, the TOHSAKA household is also based on two different locations. While the outside of the house is based on Weathercock, the inside is based on RYUUDOU Museum. It's actually located in Kobe as well, and it's not too far away from the first house. Number 5. Did you really think that I'd forget the church that houses the man, the meme himself? Such blasphemy. Coming in at number 5, we have none other than FUYUKI Church. Plenty of events that go down here. One, for example, would be when Karya lost the last bit of his sanity and ended up choking out Ren's mother. In the real world, it's called the Basilica of the 26 Holy Martyrs. It's the first building with a Western style to be recognized as a national treasure. It's also noted to be the oldest church in all of Japan. Basically, the 26 martyrs were the first Christians in Japan to be crucified for spreading their faith. Going back to my lore on Shiro Kodomin, it was a time where Francis Xavier brought Christianity over to Japan. Unfortunately, the widespread of this religion became somewhat of a plague to their culture. So the feudal lord said, hold up, let me put my gloves on. We're just gonna OJ everybody who decides to practice this religion, even if they happen to be Japanese. And that's pretty much how it went down. I also want to mention that some of the inside, like the courtyard, is based on Hotel Monterey Kobe. Number 4. Making our way to number 4, we have TOKIOMI'S villa. Here's an iconic scene that I'm sure you remember. Let's play Ring Around the Psychopath for 50 minutes straight. Bruh, my legs got tired just from watching this shit, and I was sitting down. But we'll put that to the side. Here we have the same location where they talk about the upcoming Grail War. It's also the second residence of Tokiomi. In the real world, it's the main lobby of the Imperial Hotel, which is part of a huge outdoor museum known as Meiji Village. Once you get inside, you'll find property that's been around since the Meiji era. We also have a few more on this very list. The hotel itself was built by the architect known as Frank Wright. Back when Japan was going through the Great Kanto earthquake, Frank's hotel was the only building that managed to stay standing among the apocalypse. Number 3. For number 3, we have ZOUKEN'S quarters. It is in fact the same room where Zouken watched Karya suffer from his transformation. In the real world, it's a room within the Mai Prefecture government office. This can be found in Meiji Village. If you take a look at the design, you'll notice that the room has some striking similarities, like the fact that literally everything is exactly the same. It's even shot from the same angle. What type of black magic is this? Didn't find much information on this one, but it is mentioned to be a property of cultural importance. Number 2. You've seen it in the opening, you've seen it in the first episode. Coming in at number 2, we have the EINZBERN Cathedral. It is indeed the same place where Kirisugu acquired Avalon and summoned King Arthur for the first time. In the real world, it's called the St. Xavier Catholic Cathedral. And just as before, this is yet another building that is part of Meiji Village. The building itself is a tribute to Francis Xavier. Back in the 17th century, the Shimabara domain was going through a state of fierce oppression, and a lot of those victims found peace of mind by dedicating themselves to Christianity. Since Francis was the one that brought Christianity to Japan in the first place, he was well respected among the people. The people's choice, if you will. This admiration would later lead to the Shimabara Rebellion. As a result, the government banned Christianity from Japan for over 200 years. Number 1. For number 1, we are pulling up to the EINZBERN Castle. It is the residence of the one, the only, Eliasville von EINZBERN. We must protect her at all costs. And again, the EINZBERNs are one of the 3 families that made the Grail War possible. Now, in the Fae-verse, there's actually 2 castles. The first one is located in Germany. The second one, however, is in a forest right outside FUYUKI. In the real world, the second castle is known as Chateau de Brissac. 7 floors, 204 rooms, and it's the tallest castle in France, period. Originally, it was built by nobles from the 11th century. Later on down the road, it was given to the first Duke of Brissac for his aid during the French Wars of Religion. Can you imagine keeping this place up? Jesus Christ. Shout out to the maze, bruh. The castle is also known to be one of the most haunted places in France. Back during the 15th century, nobleman Jacques de Brez came back home to his wife getting banged out by another man. Naturally, this made him lose all control. The first version claims that Jacques thrusted his sword into the couple over 100 times. The second version claims that he gave his wife a good strangle in the chapel tower. From that day forward, it's been said that she haunts the castle wearing the same green dress that her life was taken in. Don't believe me? Feel free to take a trip. Lodging is open to the public, and most of the people who have stayed have ran into the Green Lady herself. Now, before I wrap this up, I do want to add one more thing. I haven't been able to confirm this, but there's an underground tunnel beneath Chateau de Brissac, and I do believe that this might be the inspiration for the same underground tunnel beneath the FUYUKI church. The same underground tunnel where Kirei was keeping the orphans. And it will make a lot of sense considering the similar design and how Brissac is an actual location that he's already used. So I wouldn't be too surprised if he just took the tunnel and ported it over. But yeah, there are several locations that we still need to address, and as I find more information, I'll make sure that we get those covered. That about wraps it up. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to throw a like, throw a sub, share your favorite spot from this list. It's your boy Tsiah. I'm out.
2 phones flip, 2-tone drip. I got the plug on speed dial. Racks on the floor like Newtown. Ooh, got a bitch smashed.